Hello, welcome to another tutorial in our tutorial series, Building a Hotel Website with Alora Web Editor. In this tutorial, we are going to continue building our homepage for our website. So, last in the previous tutorial, we created our first section, we added our navigation items, we changed the hover state and everything. So the reason why I'm going this way without defining any proper colors is that at the end of this tutorial, we are going to define the colors, right? And I'm going to use it to teach you if in case you should purchase um, a theme from our theme store or have a theme or some templates or section styles, right? All our template packs or section style packs then you use to build your website. What are the steps you are going to effectively be able to change a few things, change the colors and stuff to match the company that you are working with in order to publish it? So let's just get ahead into building our website. So we are going to go to the next section, which we all know it's quite easy to deal with now. So we save that. We are going to have a background color white. Okay, then the first thing that we are going to do, now there are several ways to do this. There are several ways to do this particular thing. You see there's a faint line here that serves as a decoration for the headings. There are several ways to do it. I'm going to show you one. In other videos we'll cover several ways you can do this. And then in this case, what I would want to do is, because of the way I want to create this, because of the way I want to create this element, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a block so that it's going to be easy for me to deal with. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a block here to this. Then I'm going to make sure that this section, at the top of the section, we have at least 80 pixels to have some space over there. Yes. Now this is going to remain 50%. Let me see. That's a bit too much. So let's make it 40%. Okay. And then I'm going to have it a margin to the left. Margin to the left of 30%. So that it's going to be in the middle. As you can see, we are done with that. And we are going to make the background white. We want the background color to be white. Instead of going to change it at the note side, I can just go and add background color because what we want is white. Now, one thing I would want to do is probably make the display table. You don't have to, you can just set a height for the table. I just want to work in this way. So I'm putting a text in here, right? And I'm going to make the width of this text 100%. You can drag it or you can use the note. I want to use the node because it's faster for me in this case. All right, so and then we are done with that particular one. Now what I need to do is go into my actions. We have an action for this, that is h3. Yes, and then we are going to say featured groups. Let's see if I got this right. Let's go in there and see featured rooms. All right, so we have our heading over here. Now what I need to do is select my what I need to do now is select my block, right? And I'm going to add another text to it, right? This text is going to have a full stop. Okay, all right, so as I said, this is just one way to do this. There are several ways to do it, but I just want to do it this way in this case because of what because I want to show you a few ways of doing it. So this is the first way you can do it, right? And so what I'm going to do is add another text to this block. I'm going to add another text. Okay, then what I'm going to put in here is just a simple 3 dots. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to save it. I'm going to make the font size 0 right? I'm going to make the height, right, 2. I'm going to give the background color of this color. Okay, then I'm going to add a width to it, and finally a margin left. One thing you need to understand though is that this actually is not a text I'm working with. We will talk about text node later, but I'm looking for a setting here called div, right? So div. So div is sort of a container. So this now ceases to be a text, it becomes a block, but you can only do that with a text element, right? And it's for special cases, which I'll show you a lot of. Some of those cases are this one. So the padding right, I'm just going to make it 1. I'm just going to make it I'm going to make it 5. Padding left also 5, and then padding to the top I can make it 1. Padding to the bottom I can make it 1, and then the height, line height, I'm just going to delete this. Font size is not necessary here, but let's just leave it for now. Let's just leave these ones for the meantime. For now I'm just going to go to the height, which I make 2, and make it 1. As you can see, we have our line, the one that we wanted to create. Now we can make a margin to the top, and we are going to have 20. Okay, so that works for us. Then the left, we are going to make this thing I'm going to make it 45%, because the width of this element now needs to be 10. So let's make it 20%, and then so the margin to the left would rather be 40%, so that we have it in the middle. As you can see, let's go back to our design. So it's a bit shorter and the space is a little bit more. So what we can do is increase the margin to the top. So let's select our text element. Margin to the top should now be 40 or 30. Okay, so not 40%. So 36 or 35, 37. So 40 works. But at the end of the day, we are done with this, but we can see that the line here is a bit too much because of the width of this block. So we are going to advise ourselves and make this one 16%. And then the margin to the left would have 2% added to it, so that it stays in the middle. And then I think we can live with this. This is okay for us now. So now that we are done with this, the first thing that we would want to do is save this as a section style, because we never want to go through this again. So what we are going to do is save this one at hotel, and then we are going to make sure we know that it's a block that we are saving, and then we are going to make a heading. Alright, so we submit this. Now we saved it. Let's go back to this. Alright, and we are going to give it, let's make sure we delete this top left, make sure there's nothing there like that. Then we are going to save this one as well. We are going to name it hotel / header, right, and then we submit. So now that we've created this and saved this, we've saved the section style for this, we can move on to the next part of our tutorial. So the next part is to add another block here, and then with this block, what we are going to do is clear it. Right, so let's click our text and see what went wrong. So margin to the left. Okay, so it's double percentage. That's why it's doing sub. So 42. All right. So that's fine. All right. So this is our margin to the. This is our block, and increase the width, and then width can be 40%. Right. 40%. And then we are going to make sure the background is white. But then we need to push this a little bit to we need to push it a little bit lower than it is right now. So we're going to use a margin to the top, and we're going to make it 100, not percentage, 100 pixels. Now with this, we can give it a background color, and we are going to add an image. First, we're just going to add one image, and be sure about the percentage. We want it to be 100. What we would want to do is make sure this display is stable, or we can just drag the height out there, but I just want to do it this way for now. Now once we are done with this, we need to put in our image, because we need to make our website start looking like the way it should. But you'd notice that all our images are landscape. So as I said earlier, the reason why we don't override the images we edit is because you might need to edit those images again. So we are just going to go online and create a quick portrait views of the images, right? We are just going to cut these images out into portrait sections like the way we have here, and then we are going to bring it back to our website to finish building. So let's go look for our navigation. Here we are going to iloveimage.com, and then when we go here, we are going to go to crop instead. Now let's go into our folder. We can start cropping from here, but we don't want to do that. We'll go back to our original content here, and then we'll have to go through the whole process again. So we are taking this, we are taking that, and we are taking this one, and we could have this one as well. So we are going to drag it all here. Okay, so in this, because it's cropping, we would have to do it one at a time. Right, so let's just go ahead and then finish this one at a time. Crop. So if you look at our design, we have this image here cropped, right, and that is basically it. So for now, in order to have some variety, we can just crop this way. Alright, so crop this image. Let's download it. We are going to deal with it later. Let's go back to cropping again, and then we are going to pull in another image from our website, this here, and we are going to crop it. We don't necessarily have any size right now. We are just cropping it out, and later we are going to use it for our website. So now, if we don't want to go through all this, what we could also do is go to Pexels, add some variety to it. Let's go to pexels.com, where we get some free photos and then we are going to say hotel, portrait, the portrait photos, we are going to say hotel, orientation. The orientation, we want the images. You can see some nice hotels images here, and this would work for us. So let's just download this. Let's click on it, and then in a download you can see this over there, downsize. We are downloading the medium, so let's download medium, right? And it's gonna work for us. So download selected size. Okay, so fine, that's great. Let's go ahead and look for more portrait hotel images. So we can have this and we can download it. Medium, download, fine. All right, so now because we are done with this, what we'll need to do, let's find a last image. All right, so this probably would work well for us, so let's download it. Now that we are done with that, let's go to Tiny JPG. We're just going to drag these images here. Nice. All right, so we are going to drag these images here for it to be resized so that it's not big. And here we go. Now you can see that these images are still big. The reason why they are this big though is because of the size that we choose. We could have chosen a smaller size, right? So on Pexels, when we were searching, we had different sizes to choose from. So we could have chosen the small size, but it's just too small for us. Or we can put in our preferred dimensions so that it can do all this for us. But now that this is done, let's just download it for now. You shouldn't do this. This is that's 1.6 megabyte. That's a whole lot of images there. That will probably increase the size of our website too much, and we don't want that. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just for the sake of getting on quickly with the tutorial, all right, so let's just replace these ones. Okay, continue. All right, so now that we are done, we can group by date so that we can have our new ones uploaded to our website. Let's go ahead and go to our website, go to our images. So we are going to upload the new images in here as a click. Alright, so we go back to the images, and then we are selecting all this. It's going in the okay. Alright, so I cut that part short. So anytime you upload images, you get images, you should get a proper size and upload it to reduce the size. Let's go ahead and then change this image now. So we have a portrait image, and as you can see, right? And let's look at our design. Are we getting it right? Okay, so it's almost in the center. It shows that it's slated to the right a bit, so we can put in a margin for this one. Let's give it a margin left, and let's make it 10% of the whole width of the website. All right, so that works for us. Okay, now we are going to have an image. Right, so let's go ahead. We are now going to have a block added for us. Select the section. We are adding a new block, and then let's go to our section styles. We should have some interesting section styles already. We created all these ones, so all we have to do is apply it. So imagine you created a lot of elements. In that part of the tutorial, it was getting too long, that's why I cut it short. But in most cases, this part that we created here, we would have created it as in the style, so we will just apply by the time you realize you finished building your website, and in this case you have. So let's move this margin to the top as well. Let's give it the same margin to the top as this one, and it's going to be 100 pixels. Oh, I did margin to the left. We don't need margin to the left. We want margin to the top. So margin to the top, 100 pixels, and come. All right, so let's go into our design and see if this margin needs to be more. As you can see, the margin needs to be more because this we have this design and it's right almost in the middle of this design. We are not going to get it exactly, but we want to get close, as close as possible. So in this, what we need to do is put a padding to the top that is higher than what we have, right? For now, I think this works for us. And then we can refresh our design and see what we have here. So as you can see, we have that part of our design done. We would want to probably increase the width of this thing right here. So the padding to the top, the margin to the top rather, so that it flashes with this. The reason why it's not flashing with it is because of the padding in here, and we can just leave it like that because without the padding here it will just flash. So what we can do is just make sure that we have this padding at the top removed for the image, for the block I mean. Now that we have this settled for us, what we need to do is add another image to this block so that we float it around. So we are just going to add another image, and you're going to learn about another node right now. And that node, we are going to select this section, this image, and then we are going to add the node Z index. Okay, so Z index added, and the Z index for this is going to remain 0 or 1. So let's leave it at 1. Now we are going to select the block and we are going to add another image. Okay, so the Z index for this, we are going to make it 2 so that it's going to be at the top, on top of this. So it's sort of a hierarchy. So when we talk about Z index, we are talking about the position of the element in the Z axis. That is like when you're going into the screen. So it's a stack. The highest number comes up, the lowest number goes down. So in this case, we have 2. That means that it's going to come on top of this image. That's exactly what we want to do. Then one thing that we want to do with our position, instead of relative position, I think I've talked about it. Absolute means that we are not going to regard any other thing around it. Relative is more like positioning in relation. That's the word. So relative is like position in relation to other elements that came before it. But absolute means that it ignores everything around it and you can position it anywhere you want. So what the nodes that we use to position an absolute element is the top and left nodes. So as you can see, I can drag it anywhere I want, right? So I'm dragging it around to the point where I want it to be. Now that I'm done with that, I'm just going to click on this and I'm going to have, as you can see, the top left has been added automatically as I drag it. Then I'm just going to change the image that we have, right? So for that image, I can use this one, right? And we can increase the size a bit, and then we can drag it wherever we want to. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at our design if we are getting close to what we need to do. Alright, so this works for us, it's good. You can see the space between this one and the line is closer to the space between this one and the line, and we have our elements done. So we are done with this part of the section. Now the rest is just going to be easy. It's going to be really easy. So now go ahead, take this element that we've created, right, and then we are going to save it. That's how we are going to move fast building our website. So we are going to save this element again that we've created. Now what would be so good would be that if you had created a section, so normally sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I'm building websites and there are deadlines, what I actually do is that once I'm done with this, what I could do is just make this element responsive, right? And as I told you in my style guide, most of the times I would have done this already, made it responsive. So when I'm building the real website, so it can take me a day to do all the style guides. I just go relax. The next day when I come, I'm just building the website straight up. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to save it. And I'm just going to call it image. So I'm just going to say it's a block first. Then we are going to make it image sections. All right, my name, the naming, my namings are a bit weird, so you can name it whatever you want. So I've saved it. Now, let's go to the next. I need to add another section to this. Okay, so let's look at what's going on over here. We didn't save. Let's go to position. Position is still relative. That's why it's like that. It's supposed to be absolute, and then we save. As you can see now, I'm sure you can see the difference between an absolute setting and then the other setting as well. So we can save. Now click on this. We would want to make the background white for this part. So as you can see, we are going faster and faster and faster. It's getting easier to build a website and it's getting quicker. It's going to happen like that. The rest of the pages are going to go in a flash. All right, so now we are done. The first thing we need to do is what? Put in a block, right? Because we are in the next section, and then we are going to make sure the top has at least 80 pixels to give us some space. Let's go into our section styles. So we select this block and we are going to go into our hotel and we are going to look for this and we add it, and as you can see, it's done. One of the mistakes we did when we saved this section style, we didn't really have, we could save it again, block heading. All right, so there was an issue with the percentage. It saved everything. So anytime we apply it, we need to do this. If we had taken our time to look at it, we wouldn't have to do this anytime we applied. But then I'm sure you can see what is going on. We are finishing our designs quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we can do next. So after that design, we have this part of the design which we are going to add right now. So in our section, let's see what we have. We don't actually even have this yet. It doesn't have a section, so it doesn't have a heading, so we are going to delete this. We don't need you, go away. Then we are going to add an image. Sorry, we add a block and we go ahead and then go into our inside here, we add this one and then we change it. What's the name? Queen's double bedroom. Wow. The Queen double bedroom. Okay. So the width of this is 30%. That is not going to cut it because that's not going to work because the width has increased a bit. So by doing this, let's see, we are going to make it 40%. Okay, so 32%. Width of this is more like selected and the pixels 34%. So let's make it 34 and then do that. More like 35. So that works for us. So let's add another block here, and then this block is going to be with the image that we just created right now. We don't have time, so we can't. All right, so let's just add this block image sections. All right, so it's the same mistake we made as well because we cleared this. Let's go ahead and see what we have. We don't have to clear it. We need to take the clear out, and we have to make sure that this one is absolute. So you need to really make sure that your elements are done properly before you save. If you save it in that way, it's not going to work, and then you're going to have to do some changes when you edit your website. Now, see, the spacing here is just too much. Okay, now this is what is going to happen to you when you are in percentage trying to drag things around. You're going to have a lot of issues. So now the height is this, the width is 100%. Now the element itself with 100%. All right, 100%, and then we can give that to, we can leave that as that. All right, now let's go ahead and see what we can do. Let's save this and then refresh this mess. So right now that we've dealt with the mess, let's go ahead and then finish our design. Now we need to float this to the right. We need to push this a little bit to the right because the space on the right needs to be more than that. So margin to the left is what we want to have. Margin left. So we have margin to the left, and we are going to give it a percentage value, which is going to be 10%. Let's see if it works for us. It does. So we can keep it that way, right? And the design is coming good, it's coming together nicely. Let's go and look at our design here. So we have more of a square element here, and then something else. So this is to the right, so we are just going to drag it all the way here. And then we are going to change the image to a landscape one. Either that, no, not that, no. I don't have that image, so I'm just going to use any image I find here. Now we look at this. This works for us. As you can see, we can increase the width of this element, right? So the 10% that is to the left can go out to 0, and then the width can increase by 10%. So now we can make this 50%, and then we get this design here. Now if we feel this is too much, what we could do is to make it 45%. That works, and we are going to position it properly. So we can have this have a padding to the top of 100 so that we position it quite right, and reduce the padding to the top, or the margin to the top for this one, to 40. And so we have our design done properly, and then we are done. We are not going to look at the details for now. What we are going to do here is to just build the look. After all, we just come back and clean